Imagine you're 35, you have no job experience, you've had most of your life managed for you, and now that's taken away. Now you need to start a brand new job. You're used to living a luxury life, and you're a target for bad people who want to take advantage or get access to whatever savings you do have. This is the reality that faces many professional athletes, especially if they haven't planned for their retirement along the way. Lifestyles of pro athletes. Before we get into this, I want to first make clear that this video is sympathetic to the problems and pressures of professional athletes and not to criticize them, but instead explain why these issues occur. This is also a cautionary tale with lessons for people in every walk of life. Professional athletes worked their whole life at a high level, putting in extreme effort. They have usually damaged their body, and now that success doesn't translate to the rest of their working life, and they had to start again. It is important to note that most professional sporting leagues have recognized this and run various programs to develop skills for their athletes to avoid the common traps, but unfortunately in many cases it's still not enough. I'm sure you've heard many stats, such as 60% of NBA players go broke within 5 years of departing the league, and 78% of former NFL players experience financial distress 2 years after retirement. Most professional athlete earnings are compressed into just a handful of years. There are some serious problems with jealousy amongst teammates, where if one player has a brand new car, then the rest want the same. They spend ridiculous amounts on it. It can be very easy to get caught in the trap of thinking the money will never stop coming in, but they could easily become injured, and even if they stay injury-free, they will retire at some point, whether of their own choice or because inevitably they can no longer keep up at the highest level. Some athletes move into high-profile and high-paying jobs related to the sport, such as coaching or commentating. But even that is a cutthroat world with ever-changing faces, and the numbers are limited compared to how many players there are that retire from sport each year. As a professional athlete, teams of people are built around them to take care of their every need, so that all they need to focus on is playing the game. They are told what to eat or even cooked for. They are driven around. They have agents and managers to manage their finances and negotiate for them. In some cases, when a player is traded to a new city, their team, their agent or manager may organize to buy their new house, move their stuff for them, get their kids into a new school, organize their mortgage, and so on. Whilst all of that is great and helps them put all their effort into their chosen sport, they also miss out on the learning experiences that many of us have to go through as we begin to progress into the working world and learn how to survive for ourselves. One of our video team members attended a training day for a professional football team where they were being taught life skills for when they do retire. One of the players who attended the training described being a professional footballer as similar to being in a constant state of being at high school lunchtime. They kick the football around with their mates with limited life responsibilities. The problem is, when they retire, most jobs they would go for, they now have to compete with someone who, instead of having 10 years or more experience as an athlete, the other applicants have 10 years or more experience in their field they are applying for, dealing with the scenarios, dealing with the ups and downs of that particular job, and so on. That's not to say that their notoriety as an athlete might not help, but that will only get them so far. They have dedicated themselves to a profession that has a limited lifespan, where the income doesn't go back up again. Whereas in another profession, one usually develops skills and continually rises in their experience as well as their earnings, so that even if there is a down, there's time to build it back up again, and they can keep working until retirement from working, not just retirement from sport. However, with athletes, this doesn't happen. Their retirement from sport is realistically only half, if not much less, of their working life. If you're an accountant who is a partner in a firm, if you are forced to leave the job, you can start your own firm or work in another firm. Even if you have to take a lesser role, you can work your way back up to being a partner. However, if you're the captain of a football team, once you retire, you can't just go play for a different team. If you were the captain of a football team and became an accountant after retiring, firstly, you need to get a degree. So if you retire at age 36, you might be 40 by the time you are ready to take an entry-level accounting job, compared to a 22-year-old who studied their degree right out of high school. This also makes athletes more vulnerable to people who want to take advantage, especially when they're freshly retired from the sport and even whilst still competing in the sport, where they have money but they don't necessarily have the skills or the experience to understand why an opportunity may not be what it seems. Unfortunately, as the salaries of professional athletes in many sports grow over time, so too do the amount of people looking to prey on them. Many athletes also know this and want to start a business so they can have a higher level career out of retiring from sport. The problem with this is that many bad people also know this and prey on this by proposing opportunities that the retired athlete hasn't had the experience to understand the hidden issues with the business arrangement. In contrast, someone else who has the money to invest in the same business would have had to earn it in a different way, would most likely have better ability to fish out the potential issues in such a business opportunity. Another common example is investing and not understanding the fees associated with the management of investments with financial advisors who prey on the lack of understanding. This is not to say that it's all doom and gloom. As a professional athlete, if they planned for retiring as early as possible, then they could have been creating skills as they go and also invest any money they earn rather than spending it on superficial items, or by parlaying their notoriety into another opportunity while they are still playing to maximize their earnings. They also could potentially invest the money wisely and never have to worry again with recurring income and living within their means. Now, do you still want to be a pro athlete after hearing that? Tell us in the comments. However, the lessons in this translate to everyone. Nothing can be taken for granted. You should always be building skills and experiences that can translate if what you are currently doing is taken away from you. There are no guarantees in life. You could be fired even if you are excellent at your job. The company you work for might be sold and no longer need you. You might have a falling out with a boss or various other scenarios. If you own your own business, you know that the customers are never guaranteed. A major client could go broke and not be able to pay you. The industry could change, and so on. You don't want to get too hung up on the negatives, but the point is that nothing in life is guaranteed. So continue to develop yourself to be valuable, so that even if what you are currently doing now changes, approach whatever you do in the future with the same level of dedication and you'll catch up again. If you need more inspiration for that, check out our other videos on similar topics to help you out.